What's going on, YouTube? It's me. I know I've been in the habit of just talking to you as my outlet for my life in the hopes that in the future people can look back and see my journey and see what I've gone through, and when I eventually have a podcast going and I'm famous and I do all these different things that God's chosen for me, you guys can look back for proof. And it's just an outlet for me to talk to the only person that understands, which is myself, and hopefully one of you that finds this video. So I'm here. I've kind of been praying and kind of manifesting whatever in my head for the past year, that I want to be in this position where I'm above all the things below me, so I can start to be in a position of power and creative energy, so I can be unchallenged and build systems outside that kind of help all the people that are stuck down there to thrive and get higher and build a higher connection to God and have more fun with themselves. You know, like I'm in the castle looking down in there at the campfire, doing their whole thing. That's where I lived for, not out there, but you know, that igloo is where I've lived for the past like 3 or 4 months. I've been homeless for a year. In 8 days it'll be a year exactly. So actually a week from today it'll be a year exactly. And you know, I got it. I'm up here. But the problem is that I really believe this is a spiritual war and a spiritual journey and something we chose to do. So I keep just fighting the same battles over and over again it's just been more and more obvious. Like the two people that have been fucking with me the most last year were my dad and my girlfriend's new boyfriend, my ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, and they have the same name. And when I got to Burlington, I came here to hook up with a girl named Jessica. That didn't work out because she was going down a bad road. I ended up with a different girl named Jessica who was a manager doing well for herself. And then actually she went down a bad road, and the girl I was originally supposed to be here to meet is going up. And then I lived outside a dollar store, and there was an autistic, brutish, big, trans man, was a woman, but she's huge. And her name is Jessica, and her last name is the last name of my mentor. Like, I've had a few different mentors, and they're all named Alexander. So, name's Jesse Alexander. And then at the same time, I'm talking to my cousin Jesse, who's autistic and has the same issues that this woman has, man. And then I leave that for a month and I go somewhere else, and it's getting cold, so I'm sleeping behind a vending machine, hiding in a laundromat, you know, like sleeping waiting for them to leave, and kind of curling myself up in the laundry and hoping nobody sees me. And I'm there until they kick me out and people screaming in my face. But one day, just this nice, like 65-year-old Mexican man from Chicago picked me up off the ground and gave me like $20, and that got me through to the next place I'm supposed to go. And his name was Jesse, and he told me that means Jesus, and people name their kids Jesse so they have a closer relationship with God in the spirit realm. You know, like I went to West Virginia because my dad told me to go down there 2 years ago, and I met a guy named Frank, and he introduced me to 2 Bryans, and they all prayed for me. My name's Casey Francis O'Brien. You know, like when I was going down to Miami to meet Aaron Alexander, I was sat next to a black guy named Brian, and he told me that we're pretty much the same, and we had the same outlooks on life and everything. And I've never seen him again. So like I think sometimes if this is like a stage, I think sometimes they come in. You know, like I loved Skyrim growing up. Skyrim was my favorite game, and in Skyrim there's the people that hunt down the demons and kill them are called Vigilants, and that's what my name is. Casey means vigilant. So, and it also means very aware, always watching, always paying attention, always knows. And I'm an Ophiuchus, which means the gateway between here and the higher dimensions. And I take from all the different signs of the zodiac. You know, I was supposed to be born on Christmas, but I came out December 11th. I forced my way out. And then my mom's cord tried to kill me. My mom, who my entire life has been lying to the police to get me traumatized and all these different things. My mom was literally trying to kill me on my way out with the umbilical cord. So my first few hours were spent in the sky in a helicopter, and then they isolated me in a pod and left me alone for a long time, you know. And then I lived alone as an only child on the top floor of a ski lodge for a long time, building Legos with my dad, who's Gary the Legend O'Brien. There's a trophy of him at Mount Snow. He was one of the best ski instructors. Great guy. Just, we've both been extremely traumatized in that we're both fighting our own battles. Like, he's a good man, but he's got narcissism that he doesn't have a heart because he's still feeding his addictions and all that. But the point was, like, when I got here, I met like 6 different Jessies. Then when I needed help, 3 different Todds showed up at the same week. And they're all in manager positions, and they all offered to help me. Todd means fox. Then I look on my computer, and I have to argue with my dad about getting this 5th wheel called Arctic Fox that I wanted to live in, which was a really good deal. He wants to run a business, so I've been trying to teach him about appreciating assets and buying low and selling high and all that. Just concepts that come to me easy. They just come down. Yeah, and then Heather from the church in West Virginia was sending me money to get me through my day-to-day. And then I go to economic services and ask for help, and Heather that works there, who has red hair, same as this Heather, Irish, red hair, and Heather's an Aries, so they're like bossy. So they're both bossy, and then I come here, and the manager here is named Heather, and she's really bossy. And the same issue with all of them is that they're too stuck in their position like that they don't understand what I'm talking about. Like, she's kicking me out tomorrow because somebody else, you can't see it, but it's a blizzard out there, man. Because someone else came and caused problems with me, and he wouldn't let up. Like, I'm just doing my thing every day, trying to mind my business, and they just caused problems. And they took his side, which is the same story that's been happening my whole life, is that I need to stay up in the narrative enough to be conquering and like really asserting my point, because I understand real life and what's really going on, and I try to teach that to people and just do it, but there's something like narcissism or something in their head that won't let them understand where I'm coming from. It usually takes like 5 or 6 people behind me to really cement my authority, if that makes sense to you. I did acid at a really young age, and basically I've just lived in that kind of spirit world, dreamscape my whole life, and it's given me so much knowledge and insight. And I've just always understood that we're spirits living in a body, and we are who we are, and then we have things that attach to us to make us other parts of ourselves, like dignity, honor, self-respect, courage, bravery, culture, influence, what you watch in a day. Like, I learned pickup artistry at a young age, so and I just innately knew that most of these kids that I saw weren't themselves. They were traumatized and acting out how they saw on television and all that. And then I got in a really bad car accident that left me really brain damaged, and I felt like there was evil spirits around me all the time, draining my energy. I got in a relationship with the love of my life, and then she cheated on me 3 days into the relationship because of my brain damage. And I stayed with her instead of working on myself like I should have, and went down a bad road. But Irish people have been coming in my life pretty much every single day of my life. I'm having like a one-on-one with Irish people, and I'll go like do a tour through the hood, and I'll learn that culture. I'll do a tour through the Caribbean. I'll be around like Native Americans for months, learning the differences in culture and the common denominator that people don't get by being isolated at their full-time jobs. And I used to be funny. I used to be a stand-up comedian. My dad used to be a stand-up comedian, and I'm watching Jurassic World right now. So I'm just trying to get to my next position and keep the hope up. I'm gonna go write down just things I like about myself in a notebook, because maybe that will change the narrative that's going in here. I don't know my astrology signs because the place that I was flown to is different than the place I was from, but my birth certificate doesn't have the place I was from or the time. But the place I ended up, all my signs are in Sagittarius and Aquarius, except for my social planets. Like, my Venus is in Scorpio, my Jupiter is in Aries, and my Saturn is in Taurus, and my rising is in Taurus. And everything else is Sagittarius and Aquarius, which does not happen. Like, that was a set-up scenario, just like they set up situations my entire life. Like I'm in some true, like for the past week, every day I wake up, The Truman Show is playing on my TV because I leave it on at night. Every single day I've woken up for like 4 or 5 days. They played The Truman Show, which is about a guy waking up to realize he's been in a TV show the whole time, and the creator is a sick man. You feel me? So right on time. Look at that. Right on time. So I'm packing up my stuff because I know she won't listen. She lied to my face. And the people downstairs even called her out. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know you're lying. She looked me in the eyes and still lied to my face. But I wrote 11 pages in 5 minutes about everything that happened and why I was wrong and what I think should happen. And I've been through this cycle so many times that I know that it might give her an opportunity to have a heart, but ultimately it's on her to shape the narrative. He wants to keep pretending and try to take my soul away from me. I know how to get it back more than they do. And the fact is that I'm the one with goals and that's working and has a future in life that I can see. I'm the one that's been through, like I've been on my own by myself since I was born. So I know how to bounce back from this stuff. It's just, this week, after a year of going out there, I was like, this is going to be my time. I can finally sit down and make my album, make my content for you, be creative and be focused and be safe. Like, I don't have to have my head on a swivel. I don't have to worry about who's coming and who's going. I don't have to worry about my position in the area because some places it's like, if I flip a certain switch in my brain and I start to feel more powerful, that triggers all the bad energy in the area, and like I'll literally get in fist fights. People will come out and try to stab me. People try to steal from me. My family will come back, and instead of being helpful, that all they know how to do is try to take it from me. They want to take my attention and validation away so that they can assert themselves and make me feel like an animal. I've basically been a raccoon, like eating out of the trash sometimes, or I think, like, my dad and I both found these randomly on the street somewhere, and we both conveniently had them in our cars. We were living in homeless, and it's polar bears, which originated in Ireland, are the biggest animals, and they have a span of territory that extends further than any other animal, so they have to live alone other than their family, and they don't do well outside of that, and they're also going extinct because the world is changing around them and they can't live in their environment anymore, so they're being forced to go closer to more animals and more people and all this, where they should be up deep in the woods in a ski lodge by themselves. My grandfather trained messenger pigeons. My great-grandfather. My greatest grandfather, Brian Boru, united Ireland together to kick out all the Vikings. Every time I went to jail, it was for a made-up scenario that my mom perpetuated and got favor from police with her great writing skills, and she knows how to emotionally control people, so she framed a story to get me in trouble because she was afraid of losing whatever perceived power she has. She's an Aquarius, Cancer, Scorpio. My dad's a Leo, and so it was like, I'll be going down Thanksgiving, working all day, delivering people's food for Instacart, giving people their Thanksgiving dinner because they're last minute mentally ill, rushing to get money to provide for their family, give a good night. And like a manager will see me hustling and he'll come up and try to get in my face and fight me, and the police get called on somebody else, but for some reason he brings them over to me and they run my name, and I have a warrant because I asked my mom for help and she had a restraining order I didn't know about for a situation that she made up. And it's just Brattleboro's not mentally sound enough to comprehend somebody speaking focused and determined and real. I think it's an ego check because they're stuck in that robotic hive mind social hierarchy that I just don't have through decades of isolation. and I'm starting to kind of learn how to deal with it, but it mostly just feels like a trap. I don't like it. So tomorrow I'm either in here if Heather has a heart, or I'm going back out and I'm living in a tent and trying to find a way to make my music outside during the snowstorm. I was trying to get on disability and get on Adderall so I could focus and have like a safety net while I work on this content stuff, because people blow up really quickly, and when I have focus I can really understand how to make the things that people want and also provide value and make it entertaining and funny. And I have so many songs in my heart that I want to get out to everybody, but it seems like the entire universe is working to make it as difficult as possible, but I'm hoping that's because it'll make it the most legendary comeback and the most kind of like ascended, innovative, just higher legend. Like, I think that's why I'm suffering so much. So I know about social skills, I know about sexual dynamics, I know about people with autism and how to kind of shift that back into empathy. At least I know about money. I know how to hustle. I know the streets. I know how to basically take you from a fat loser to a legend. And I'm doing it for myself, and I just record these videos to document that. So if you find that, write down who you want to be and who you are, and find the belief. Imagine nothing at all, and then reverse it. Imagine everything is possible. Everything you can think of. Just keep imagining everything and everything and everything, and grow. And when you find those limitations, those are limiting beliefs, you can imagine outside of them, and then grow your comfort zone. And that's a controlled way where you can just let go and vibe. Build discipline, work out every single day, set your goals, and keep sure you're working towards your goals and focused on that regardless of emotion, so that you learn how to use emotional energy as a tool to get yourself where you need to go. That discipline, focus, and control of your narrative and environment and reality, along with your empathy and heart you learn from hard work and determination and fucking around and finding out, will give you the most sound energy that will ultimately, because you, through that discipline, you won't be affected by the outside world. So you'll have a target on your back, but you'll also be literally conquering and contributing to society as a whole through the domino effect. And that's what I do, is I go around the country to different places, to Walmarts, downtown bus stations, around the Meek, and then I'll go through like where I'm talking to leaders, and I'm talking to higher level people, businessmen, all this. So I'm just like bridging the gap, and kind of, some days I'm full of life and I'm going in and I'm literally battling demons every day. And sometimes I'm just chilling in my car relaxing. But my car broke down on the highway on my way to get oil for it. The sun came out, I felt God. And it's exactly a year since I left home to do this trip. So I push through it every single day, so I'm going to keep going until we get nuked and see what happens. So pray for all of us to get our highest timelines, and when I'm out of here, I'll be a different, better version of myself, because I'm going to overcome a lot of shit in the next 24 hours.